It's time for Losses Above Replacement, the best baseball podcast to grace your ears, with your hosts, Alex.
Gosh, I have so many questions. Also, where's my car?
Splash.
Strive to love something as much as my grandmother loves buying new crock pots.
And Mac.
If you've ever been to Boston, you know that they have amazing ice cream.
Coming to you from coast to coast, it's L.A.R.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another incredible episode of Losses Above Replacement, the best baseball podcast to grace your ears. I am today's host, Alex Clark, joined by our very own people eliminated from playoff contention in Mathias Kurosaki and Ryan Splash Potts, my main men. How are we doing on this September Eve?
I'm going to speak for Mac here. That only applies to one of us. Unfortunately, the wrong one of us.
No, us as people. I bet you guys as people eliminated from playoff contention.
Well, Mac gets to write we'll probably get to write playoff articles here in a couple weeks.
Yes, but that doesn't mean that you're on the Mets.
Yes, he is.
Actually, are you sure? I'm pretty sure I am, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, they've had the pitching issues. I can understand how they may need him there. So
I don't know, man. I have a 0 ERA this year, so
he's going to get a playoff share. That's my prediction.
Okay, you know, hey, that's fair.
He's going to get a playoff share.
The way things.
At this point, I might actually have the most playoff shares because I might be going to the most playoff games.
Okay, genuine question. You guys are familiar with the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon?
Yes.
Okay. Which one of us would be the closest to our respective team? I'm guessing Alex?
Yeah. I've already done things. I mean, I think the coolest one for me is that I am 1 degree of separation away from Brad Pitt. So
solid.
Okay.
That's a cool thing here, as well as have a number of connections are all right through with the Mayor's organization as well as other organizations. So
sure.
I took a picture with Brandon Nimmo. That's my connection.
And there you go.
True. Very true.
Yeah. So the next episode is going to be Mac connecting himself to King Henry VIII.
Exactly.
Fair enough. And then afterwards, we're going to connect me here to anyone on the Astros organization.
Yeah, totally.
Anyway,
the crazy thing is, I'm not even going to be around for at the way things are going. I probably won't even be home for the Mets playoff run because I'm flying to Colorado tomorrow, and I'm going to be in California until Thursday. Which by that point, the wild card series will probably be over. The entire wild card round. So, I mean, who knows how much more Mets baseball I actually have to watch. But I guess getting in is what counts right now. I mean, I really don't know how to feel about what's going to happen for the next few days. I don't know. I'll be watching plenty of playoff baseball, regardless of if the Mets are in or not.
Very fair. Here, I will be watching a lot of playoff baseball, especially from my Seattle Mariners, who last night, at the time of this being recorded, officially clinched their playoff berth here, the first one since 2022, and now are going for the division with a magic number of 1, and then are, after that, trying to get the second seed in the American League. By the way, I realized we were just talking about this. Splash, did you say how you're doing okay, my man?
I'm dead on the inside. The Lions-Ravens game was the equivalent of a stranger coming into your house, throwing his feet up on your dining room table and saying, "Bring me a sandwich," in the wise words of Chris Broussard.
Okay, I guess that's one way to put it.
That is definitely one.
And a soda pop. In this case, Verner's. First things first, had a hilarious skit that Chris Broussard came in on a crutch with his Ravens robe on. It was all tattered. He's walking over with the crutch, and he brought a case of Verner's because he had to go walk around Detroit to find that, and then he went back and watched 8 Mile with the Lions fan that invaded his house.
Fair enough, I guess.
Check out the First Things First Twitter for a better description, or better, watch the thing.
Fair enough. All right, so with that being said here, my Seattle Mariners clinched going to the playoffs last night. And right now here, for those of you watching on YouTube, which, by the way, go ahead and subscribe to us on YouTube at Losses Above Replacement, where you can see the visual of all of our podcasts, where you can see things such as the playoff postseason picture here that we currently have. And we want to bring this up here because we talked a bit about the NL thing, but that's been because the NL has had more clinches here. Since then, the American League has started to follow suit here. And with that being teams like the Blue Jays clinching a playoff spot, the Mariners clinching a playoff spot here, the Yankees as well. I believe those are the only ones currently in the American League.
Yeah, those three.
I can confirm. Blue Jays, Mariners, Yankees.
Yeah. And to be fair, I don't really see this changing too much, these teams changing on the American League side. I mean, there's some room there, but with the dogfight that's going on between Cleveland and Detroit here, I don't think there's going to be too much change on that here. I mean, there's still very much a possibility that if Cleveland continues to win the way that they have here and Detroit continues their generational level collapse here, that the Astros could take the 6th as well. So with that being said here, right now the postseason picture has the Blue Jays in the number 1 seed, the Seattle Mariners in the 2 seed, where both of those teams will have a bye to the ALDS. For the wild card series, you would have the 3 seed in the Guardians taking on the 6 seed in the Tigers, and then the 4 and 5 seeds clashing in the ancient historical battle of Red Sox being Yankees. So, with that being said, and all of this, let's start. First off, the first thing I want to talk about here is the Detroit Tigers, because they have had one of the most generational collapses that we have seen here, and it is becoming now not just like possible, but actually kind of likely they could miss the playoffs. I mean, we thought that it was going to be a far-fetched they would even lose the division, but coming into today, they don't have the division. They lost the division to the Cleveland Guardians, who have been on an incredible run, and that's despite losing 2 of your best bullpen pieces due to gambling allegations here. And on top of it, now the news today where the Guardians get even more news after taking a fastball at like 99, ricocheted off the bat, off from a bunt to the face, multiple face, broken bones, and lacerations. Here, turning him as he's going to be David Fry out for the next about 6 to 8 weeks. So more than likely out for the playoffs. Just not really possible unless some incredible miracle happens. So with that being said here, that now means that the Guardians and the Tigers have what, in my opinion, is probably the most interesting series right now. Because you now have a true, it is an underdog story right now, where you have the team that has been on top for so long, then completely fallen down here, and now went from being the unanimous number 1 seed to being the 6th seed here currently, and that's even in jeopardy. And as Splash is showing right now here, they're currently losing to Cleveland 2-1 in the 4th. This is like, I want to get your guys' take on this here. What happened here that brought Cleveland to being now on top of the division, and Detroit just falling completely by the wayside?
You know, it's tough to pinpoint something, but Cleveland has been streaky all year. All right, they lost 10 games in a row at one point earlier this summer. Then they went on a hot streak. I remember early to mid-August. Then they went really cold, and then all of a sudden they win 10 in a row to get back in it. And Detroit, literally, like almost nothing changed with Detroit, but their pitching staff outside of Tarek Skubal regressed heavily. I mean, it's the only way to put it. Casey Mize has not had a good second half. Jack Flaherty, frankly, hasn't been good all year. Charlie Morton had a good couple starts for them and then completely fell apart to the point where he got designated for assignment, and of course he's back on the Braves. It's just a combination of just, Cleveland getting hot, winning. They've won a lot of close games. That's the things that if you compare the two teams, just looking at the rosters, you would say Detroit is the significantly better team. But Cleveland, has a -6 run differential, but they just find ways to win ball games. And, frankly, right now, Detroit is finding ways to lose ball games. I mean, those games against the Braves over the weekend, it felt like they were literally trying to lose. I mean, being straight up, respectfully to the Braves, they're not a playoff team this year. The Tigers, you look at them, they should be able to take care of business in a 3-game series at home against the sub-500 team, and you get swept. I mean, it's really just confusing to me. And I look at what's coming next, and I have a hard time believing that the Tigers can recover from this, really. I mean, you look at the upcoming schedules, they obviously are there in the middle of the 3-game set with Cleveland. Then you go to Boston to finish the season, and that's another team that's fighting for a playoff spot. And Boston's in a pretty good position, I think. And then, Houston has been struggling. But on paper, they have by far the easiest schedule remaining. And I'm not even referring to the 2 games in Sacramento because they're not really – they're just – the A's are not a pushover. I'll say that much. The Angels, on the other hand, it feels like they're finding ways to lose too. So, honestly, we're looking at a very real chance that Houston ends up claiming that last playoff spot, and the Tigers just can't dig their way out of this.
So one thing I want to bring up here before you just to add on to this a little bit, the Guardians right now have a 17-4 record so far, or 17-5 record, excuse me, in the month of September. That is absurd. That is incredible. And one thing as I'm looking at the schedule here, a lot of their wins are, like you said, they're close wins. Aside from a couple games here, one against Tampa, one against Kansas City, none of them are by more than 4 runs. Like, every other one is by 4 runs. It's like 4 or less. So they're finding ways to win close ball games. And one thing that's even more impressive about it, if a game is close, what is something that usually happens when you win close games? Your closer comes out to shut it down. What don't they have? Their closer. So now they've been doing all this without Class A. They even sold at the deadline here, and now here they are with an American League Central division potential win on their hands here. And don't get me wrong. I mean, the rest of the schedule for the Guardians isn't, the easiest thing. They play this game currently against Detroit here, another game against Detroit, and then you have 3 against the Rangers all at home, though, as well. And the Rangers also are not a pushover, but they are eliminated here. I don't think that's going to hurt it that much more, but it's going to be so interesting to watch. Splash, I do apologize I interrupted your time.
I think it's as simple as this. The Tigers have lost their last 3 Tarek Skubal starts, and he is the alpha of the team. He is the star that stirs the drink, if you will. And he got hit up by the Marlins in a game he only threw 45 pitches. The next time out, he dealt. They lost to Cleveland. And then yesterday, he had allowed 1 earned run, but had a cataclysmic 6th inning with a wild pitch and an error and a balk. And it was a mess, and you allow 3 unearned runs, and you lose there. And that is the best player in your team. I don't want to say laying an egg because he pitched okay the second game, but he didn't pitch well against Miami. Miami is not making the playoffs. And he pitched okay yesterday, but gave it away with fielding miscues. So it's hard if you're a team like Detroit that has the one superstar in Skubal, the best pitcher in the world sometimes, the best lefty in the world certainly, and Riley Green's fine. You have a couple other maybe all-star level players, and beyond that, it's a lot of do the little things right, base running, fielding, clutch hitting, things like that. Well, when your ace isn't an ace, you're going to have problems. And this is Cleveland themselves have run into this issue in the past when their aces didn't pitch like aces. And they have Jose Ramirez to balance everything out. But when the rest of the lineup doesn't hit, it doesn't matter. You're going to have a struggle of a season. And the bullpen has fallen. Like early on in the season, it was dominant. Now you're lucky if you can get 3 outs without allowing a run, it feels like. And Cleveland dealt with some of the same things before they had last year, and they had a masterclass season with Gaddis and Clase and co. And the Tigers from last year making the playoffs with a 1% chance to make it as of August 12th to this year, not certain to blow it because the Astros have a hand in it, but blowing the division for sure. They were up 15 and a half games. That is ridiculous. And yes, Cleveland won the season series, but it's not a 13-0 season series, right? So, and it's not even like a 2022 Mets Braves situation that the Braves played like a 150 win pace for 3 months, right? Cleveland was just a fine baseball team. Detroit fell off a cliff, and Cleveland took advantage here in September, 17-5 so far this month, looking at 18-5 right now. And like when your stars don't play like stars, and you don't have stars around the stars, when your A-level players, your B-level players, and your C-level players are scuffling, that's when you have problems.
Yeah, and really, this is, like you said, it's not at all like 2022 with the Mets and Braves, because that was two good teams playing. It's not like the Mets necessarily played poorly. They did the sweep at home against the Cubs hurt, obviously, but they had a 15-11 month in September. The Braves just did not lose at all. It felt. It's worse than 2007, I would say, too. All right. They're very similar. Okay. 2007, I hate to recall this, but the Mets went 5-12 the last 17 games, and the Phillies went 13-4. And like you could say, like, all right, yeah, the Stars didn't come through. Well, I mean, David Wright that year finished the year on a 17-game hitting streak. But it really is it does come down to the bullpen in a lot of ways. And I want to point to a couple of guys. Kyle Finnegan was a big pickup at the trade deadline, and he was on a roll when they got him. And then he got hurt. So losing him for a couple weeks even was big. Will Vest was their closer most of the year, and he had a 2.3 ERA in the first half, and it's 4.76 in the second half, but it's 6.43 in September. That is just that when you're relying so heavily on your bullpen, because really beyond Tarek Skubal, they haven't been getting a lot of length out of their starters. When you're relying heavily on your bullpen, it doesn't matter who gets called upon. Someone has to step up, and it feels like nobody other than Finnegan has stepped up this year. So I mean, it's just they're not executing at all. There's a reason they're 5-14 this month, and frankly, like I said, I'm having a hard time believing that they can come out of this. They're finishing the season against Boston, another team fighting for a playoff spot. It's not like they finished the season like Cleveland. I mean, look, Texas got hot. But Texas is now out of the playoff race. They're not playing for anything. Wyatt Langford just went on the IL. Cleveland gets to face Texas. Detroit gets to face Boston. Detroit's in a lot of trouble here. And yeah, no, I remember someone, I forget who it was in The Athletic that wrote, I think it was Ken Rosenthal talking about how Detroit could be in for a reckoning if they miss the playoffs. Yeah, you got to wonder what happens here. I think they did not do enough at the trade deadline because they, as great as their lead was and as great as their season was going, they had holes on their roster. And they didn't, I don't think they adequately addressed them. They respectfully to Paul Sewald, it was Paul Sewald and Kyle Finnegan and Charlie Morton. Those were their acquisitions, really. So the Tigers can really have nobody else to blame but themselves.
Yeah. I think honestly, it's really fun to see that this postseason right on the American League side, aside from Cleveland, is a perfect example of if you are trying to win, buy at the deadline. Like almost every other team made solid moves at the deadline trying to get better here. Cleveland being the outlier here. One of the things I want to bring up as well here is the Astros. The Astros are the only other American League team not yet eliminated from postseason contention yet. Here, there is no one else that could even compete for the wild card. It is these few teams. But one thing that's fun for Houston is that they have 5 games left. And we said here it's against the Athletics here in Sacramento and then the Angels in California. So they're all away games, but they have not played well. Like, they're on a 4-game losing skid, 3 of them on the hands of my Mariners. Well, there you go. But even yesterday's game, they did not look good. Here, there was a huge, there was a few times where it just looked like they were completely lost, including a pop fly in the infield that ended up scoring a run for them. So here's the thing right now. It really is going to be, I think, at this point, it's going to be between Detroit and Houston for that final wild card spot here. And because right now, I think that Seattle's magic number for the division is at 1. So I think it's fair to at least, I'm not even going to say assume, but to statistically, they should be the West representative here, the West Division winner. So with that being said, they don't have to worry about getting a wild card spot. Houston does, and so does Detroit. I think, the 3 games are really going to make a difference, and it's very clear that Houston has the easier series right now. I mean, like we said, who would you rather face right now, Boston or the Angels? Not really a question, if I'm being honest here. Although Trout did hit his 400th home run, so good there.
Yeah, it's tough when you face a team like the Angels or like the A's because they're not playing for anything, which either means they could just be like completely tanking, just completely off the rails, or they could be like, all right, we have no expectations, so we're going to show up and play our best ball, and because these games mean something to someone here. And I watched this at the end of multiple seasons with the Marlins. The Marlins, who were out of the race, showed up and played their best ball at Shea Stadium at the end of the year. There's a chance. Look, the Angels are tripping and falling, and I believe they've clinched a last place finish, or they've almost clinched a last place finish in the AL West. And I believe that'd be the second year in a row. I can't remember if they got last over, quote unquote, over Oakland last year.
To confirm, yes, they did, and yes, they've clinched this year.
Okay, because I saw they're 4 back. They're 4 back of the A's right now, but who knows? Maybe the Angels show up and they all right, we're gonna, this is our chance to get back to the Astros, and they take 2 out of 3 or something. But I mean, realistically, Houston has a prime opportunity here against the bottom 2 teams in their division to go out and win and get a playoff spot. It's tough to judge though, because also not Sacramento, the A's have actually been good in the second half this year. They've been one of the better teams in the AL.
One of the things that's so interesting for me, at the very least, here is we talk about teams that don't have anything to play for here. There's a saying that I love here, and that saying is there is nothing more dangerous than a man with nothing left to lose. And well, guess what? The Athletics and the Angels don't really have a whole lot more to lose right now. So I would love to see them come through, especially since the other bit of this here is that Houston knows it's been crunch time. It's been crunch time for a little bit, and they had a prime opportunity just a little bit ago to not just make the playoffs, but to take the division away from Seattle here by having Seattle on your own home turf. What happened in that series? Well, let me regale you just for a moment. Lost 4-0, lost 6-4, lost 7-3. The best case for them was a 2-run game here, which, mind you, that game ended in probably the greatest way I've ever seen a baseball game end. Here with the Victor Robles diving catch doubling up.
I still can't believe that happened, dude.
I can't either. I was at the Savannah Bananas game here, and I was keeping track of everything on my phone just with the game day bit, and it said in play out. So I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then, Mac, you tweeted, "What did I just see?" And I was like, need to find clip. And we got our entire section cheering for Mariners winning that game.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I was watching it sort of like in the background while I was doing something. I was confused because I saw him dive, and then they panned to Myers around third base. I was like, wait, did he not catch it? And then they show him flipping to second base for the double play. I'm like, I can't believe that just happened.
Julio has the best quote afterwards, says, "That's going to live in my mind forever."
I mean,
seriously. Just see that man fly and the pink of his cleats on that. It's forever burned in his mind.
I mean, that's I mean,
you want to talk about a defining moment.
Yeah, right there, man.
That right there. That is going to be one of the plays that when we look back here, if Seattle makes, a big run in the postseason, we're going to look back at that moment here saying that's where the momentum was truly on our side. That's truly where it was here, as well as the double from Naylor last night, which, mind you, absolutely beautiful.
That was an awesome moment. Yes.
Absolutely incredible. I'm going to be real. I lost hope because, yes, you're playing the Rockies, but you were playing the Rockies and you were down to the Rockies. A score 3-1. And your only offensive hits were a home run by Dom Canzone and I think one single. Before that, they had not gotten a single other hit in the game. They got base runners on via walk-in hit by pitch, but that was it. They did not get very many hits that last night. So, bringing it back, though, here, when it comes to Houston especially, they've had the chance so far to reclaim and to take what they think is theirs here. They've already scrubbed it once. I'm not saying it's going to happen again here because I have learned, as much as I may not be a fan of Houston here, I have learned not to bet against them. They could pull out some of the most incredible trickery and come from behind, prowess that I've ever seen. So, with that being said, though, I do think that Detroit is going to actually make it here. I trust them. I trust them a bit more for the sole purpose of I've seen the Astros, what they have looked like over the last week, and they have not looked like a solid baseball team.
It's really, because I want to talk about the AL East too, because that's also kind of a mess where it looks like, so it to me at this point, and I know Red Sox fans are hesitant here because they went through 2011 where, they, what was it, 9.5 game lead going into September. But I feel like the Sox are safe. I think obviously the Yankees and Blue Jays have clinched, but we're looking at a situation right now where the Red Sox are beating the Blue Jays tonight. If the Yankees are beating the White Sox, if the Yankees win, they are even with Toronto in the AL East. Granted, Toronto still has the tiebreaker, but Boston's also not too far behind. Boston also has the tiebreaker over New York. But and again, it's one of those things where you don't know who's going to get that bye because that could be a big difference there.
Absolutely.
The Yankees look like they're kind of heating up at the right time. The Blue Jays are in a tailspin. I mean, they lost the last two to Tampa Bay. They lost the first two to Kansas City, and it looks like they're going to lose the first two to Boston. That's another team that's tripping and falling, and frankly, I can't see Toronto going all that far. So it's the AL East is a mess, but it just happens that two teams have clinched a playoff spot. And realistically, with how Boston's playing, again, Boston versus Detroit, anything can happen, but I have a lot more confidence that Boston can get a playoff spot as opposed to Detroit and Houston, which it feels like they're just like racing to the bottom right now.
Which is so weird again to say at this point right now that you're racing to the bottom for a playoff spot.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you keep losing, that's what happens.
I guess so. Yeah.
I think this is when I point out maybe a team like the A's, who's 7-3 in their last 10, should make the playoffs instead of the Astros. I mean,
know.
The A's, if we go by the first half, second half systems like they do in the minors, I mean, the A's would have a playoff spot if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, my glorious.
I'd like to see the A's in over Houston.
Yeah,
I mean, the A's are nice, dude.
A's Braves World Series, right?
The A's?
No, we're gonna see a Mariners and Brewers World Series.
Oh, that's disappointing.
I don't know if that's. I don't know,
that's the power of friendship and chaos coming together.
pancakes.
Beautiful.
Stop.
No, I refuse. I'm also the host of the show.
I do want to touch on the Tigers one more time.
Yeah.
For those on YouTube, I'm popping up the 2009 season where the Tigers blew a
Oh
7-game
God,
lead
I remember
to the
this.
Twins. They go up 7. They go to bed September 6th. They're up 7 games on the Twins. They drop multiple games. They lose 6 games in a row. Lose 2 games in the division. Win a game. Rick Porcello, future Cy Young winner, by the way. Win a game on a walk-off. Then lose a game. Win, lose 2 games to the Twins. Now it's a 2-game lead. You blew a 5-game lead in 13 days. Now you answer back. You beat the Twins. You sweep Cleveland at the time. You're rocking and rolling. Then you lose to Jake Peavy. And you lose again to Chicago. Hey, then you take 2 out of 3 from the Twins. Or, sorry, you take, 2 out of the first 3 from the Twins. You're vibing. And then you lose to the Twins. 2-game lead. You lose to the White Sox. You lose to the White Sox again. You win on the last day to force a game 163. And, folks, this is what happens in game 163.
One of the more underrated games, I feel like, of the 21st
Absolutely.
century.
Absolutely.
I was locked in for that game.
There. You're up 3-1 or 3-0 in the third inning. Blow the lead. You're up 4-3 or sorry, 5-4 in the 10th. All you need is 3 outs. You can't get those 3 outs and pour
Fernando Rodney in to pitch 3 innings.
That's a decision.
Yeah,
one of the decisions of all time.
Look, and I remember the thing like you were just popping up there. The 09 Tigers. That series lost the White Sox at the end. But also, you lost 5 of 6 to the last place Royals. Like that's.
Yeah.
I mean, that right there is like, that 7-game lead is great, but if you can't beat the weaker teams in the division, I remember that was part of the Mets collapse in 07. They got swept by the Nationals at home. Remember, before the Nationals were like a premier team in the National League, they were like, it was just before they even drafted Strasburg. I believe they drafted Ross Detweiler that year. Like it was one of those like bang up Nationals teams that just like took it to them at Shea Stadium. And it feels like, it's kind of what the Tigers are going through. But I will say Detroit, I remember someone alluded to this back right after the trade deadline about why Cleveland didn't do a full hard sell, is that they had a much easier finishing schedule compared to Detroit. Detroit has had to face some legitimate teams over the last couple of months.
So then my question at that point then becomes, why did you sell to begin with?
Well, I will say
good about it.
You know, again, I feel like the only real piece that they sold was Bieber. And Bieber was a guy who hadn't pitched all year and pitched 1 game last year, I'm pretty sure. Or he pitched like a couple games last year. But I can't even say that they really sold.
Did they also lose Santana too? But that was on
Santana. That was a waiver wire thing.
Yeah.
But
they still put him on the waiver wire.
Yeah. So it was Santana and Bieber. But again, they held on to Stephen Kwan, which seemed like the guy that everyone wanted from there. They held on to Cade Smith. They held on to Hunter Gaddis. Like they didn't trade any of their other like big pieces other than Bieber. I guess the other guy they moved at the deadline was Paul Sewald, and he had barely pitched for them. So again, it was like, I think going into the deadline, they were planning on doing a full sell-off, and then their biggest trade ship got suspended for gambling, and then they just opted not to do a full hard sell. And I guess it's kind of like, it's a little different from the Diamondbacks did in the National League. But it's one of those things where it was like, all right, we're not going to buy because we're probably not good enough to like go for it, but we're good enough to maybe sneak into the wild card. So I think that was what they were going for.
That's fair. One thing I do want to bring, we talk about the collapse here. This is a tweet from Jeff Passan here, just to kind of hammer it home a little bit more. August 25th, Detroit holds a 12.5 game lead over Cleveland. September 23rd, the Guardians beat the Tigers to tie them atop the American League Central and now own the tiebreaker too. They now own a 3-1 lead in the bottom of the 5th of this game. That's not part of the tweet. That's just part of the screen. One of the greatest surges and collapses we've ever seen, all over the course of less than a month. That's what's so interesting here to me, is that we talked about the other collapse here from Detroit, right? Where it was over, 13 days, losing 5 games, right? This was a 13.5 12 and a half game lead over less than a month here. Like, I don't even really know how to fully put it into perspective here, because legitimately that feels like you would have to nearly lose out here almost a full bit of the month, and the team that's catching up on you would have to win out here with only a couple different changes within there. So I hope it puts at least a little bit of what's going on in perspective for everyone listening here, because this race has been insane, where right now we have seen both Detroit and, to a lesser degree, Houston really just throw away everything they had here. They were in control of everything, and then whether it be Cleveland coming on with the power of friendship and positivity, or the Mariners with the power of mustaches and the Etsy witch here, we have seen teams come through and overtake someone that was thought to be the slam dunk here division winners. So with that being said here, especially with, again, like we're saying here, make sure you tune in on YouTube here, a 3-1 lead here currently for Cleveland, because they have the same record of 85-72, but Cleveland holds the tiebreaker, and it looks like they're about ready to extend it.
That's the thing is also, I will say it's a tough draw facing Cleveland 6 times in a 9-game span the last 2 weeks of the season. But again, going into last week, Detroit was leading the season series, and goodness, what has happened? The thing is also, you still have a 6.5 game lead with 12 games to go, and somehow that lead has completely evaporated.
What happens when a team gets really hot and a team gets really not?
And that's what happens when you bring in this guy. Try to guess the Baseball Reference page, will you?
Oh, Lord.
He had a 7 ERA with the Tigers. He was one of their trade deadline acquisitions.
Oh.
He's no longer on the Tigers. The Braves knocked him out of the game early on last series. Any guesses?
I mean, I know who it is.
World Series champion.
It is Charlie Morton.
It's Charlie Morton, yeah.
Who is now back on the Braves, and I bet will pitch 1 game and retire.
Yes.
I wouldn't be mad about that.
You can cut to a clip of us doing our live trade deadline reaction. I said, "Hey, Dad." My dad's a Tigers fan. Charlie Morton is not the solution to your problems. Charlie Morton pitched to a 7 ERA with the Tigers. He allowed more hits than innings pitched.
Oof.
It's very bad. It wasn't even good with the Orioles. He allowed more hits than innings pitched with the Orioles.
Granted, those Orioles numbers are skewed by a dreadful first 8 starts.
Fair.
So I felt like those numbers were skewed to the point where I was like, all right, maybe you can get Charlie Morton and get some decent enough innings out of him. And look, the first few starts weren't that bad. Just the last few starts, it was like you might as well just throw batting practice, man.
Hey, he was striking out 10.8 per 9, but he was allowing many hits to that 10.8 per 9. Whoopsie daisies. That 10.8 per 9 was only a strikeout percentage of 25%. So.
That's rough.
Yikes.
Yeah. So
all right.
Charlie, shout out to a great career.
Yeah. Let us know what you guys feel. Let us know what you guys feel about the playoff picture. Do you think that the Astros are going to overtake the Tigers for the 6th seed? Do you think that the Mariners somehow are going to fall out of it? Do you think the Blue Jays will not be the number 1 seed here going into the playoff section? Let us know here on Twitter at LAR_baseball. Splash, what's up?
I will say, if there was ever a team to unclinch a playoff berth, it would be the Seattle Mariners.
I mean, unclinch is,
I don't know if that's humanly possible, but
I don't know either.
I don't know if that's a word either.
I don't know how it would be if they had. I don't know if they had a COVID epidemic and couldn't play and got replaced by the Astros. I don't know. But
legitimately, if that happened, the podcast would no longer be. I would find a way to just delete everything here and go full nuclear.
Oh my.
Anyway, regardless, with all that being said,
I do think the Astros catch the Tigers, and I think it won't necessarily be Seattle versus Houston first round, but we could see a Seattle versus Houston playoff series.
Here's the thing. I would not be that mad about that here, but honestly, I would love to see Cleveland v Seattle in the first round, because I also want to see my boy Kyle Manzardo play.
Fair. By
Here,
far the
and then-
funniest outcome would be a Cleveland-Detroit wildcard series. Like Cleveland does all this like 15.5 game back nonsense.
Oh yeah,
And then
that-
Detroit
the
just
face.
beats them in the first round.
Yeah,
in the
that'd
playoffs.
be crazy.
honestly, that would be so anticlimactic.
It's like,
Gosh.
oh, hey, you took a 15.5 game lead from us. Cool beans. Tarek Skubal, Jack Flaherty, you're out.
2 strikes and you're out. All right. Well, speaking of 2 strikes, here, some big baseball news came out here just the other day that we have, I think all of us have been waiting for. We knew that it was going to happen at some points, and it looks like the future is now as ABS, the automatic ball strike challenging system, will be in the major leagues full time next season. Like, this is huge, right? I think we all knew that this was coming, but I don't know if we fully thought it was actually going to happen in 2026 here. Because, again, for those of you that do not know here, which if you're listening to this podcast and don't know what the ABS system is, how, but also, hey, thanks for joining in. But the ABS system here is basically where the pitcher will throw the pitch, umpire will make the call, and then either the catcher, batter, or pitcher don't like it, they will tap their head to challenge the call here. And when you get a successful challenge, it's kept. If you get it wrong, you lose the challenge, you have 2. This has been used in the minor leagues now for, I believe, now 2 years. 2 or so years. And was actually most recently used here in spring training here for Major League players. So
And
they
in
got
the All-Star game.
And in the All-Star game, thank you. Yeah, where they got to do it firsthand here. And honestly, I thought it was fantastic. Like, when I first was hearing the idea, I was actually kind of against it because one of the things that is so valuable to me at the very least here, one thing that's actually not valuable to me. One of the main things as an umpire here is that you cannot challenge balls and strikes. If you argue balls and strikes with me, you're automatically wrong, and I will toss you eventually if you keep chirping. But this is a way how we could kind of circumvent that a little bit, because you're not just outright saying, hey, what the heck was that? I want you to get help on that. Here. No, you do. Tap of the head, tap is like, and you do, that does the challenge there. The one thing to make a big note of that really makes me love it, coaches cannot challenge. I love that. It has to be the players. It has to be the pitcher, catcher, or batter, and it has to be done within a couple of seconds. You don't get like a long time to deliberate it, like you see with other challenges, like challenging plays. Here, I'm fully for this. I think that this has been a long time coming here, and I am so about it because it does, as much as the baseball purists might hate it, I think that this helps the game a lot more because you now officially can say here overall, like, all right, we are doing more to keep the game played at the highest level while eliminating some but not all of the human element, because I think the human element is important. Yeah, I very much think that, especially when it comes to officiating. But getting rid of at least a little bit of it, and you can only use it a certain number of times here, it doesn't add almost any actual time to the ball game, and you just have to now, so you have to know when to use them here. So like, you could do them all in the first inning if you feel like, but now you're going to be bottom of the ninth here, and that pitch that was 5 feet outside gets called a strike, and you can't challenge it. You just lost the ball game. I think it's going to be great. Swatch, I'm going to go to you on this one first here. What are your thoughts on the ABS system being used in 2026?
Yeah, I'm fascinated to see what players do the best with it. You know, my gut would say, oh, Juan Soto and the the guys that walk a lot. The Aaron Judge might hold your horses. Aaron Judge might be even better with this because he can challenge all of those fugazi strikes at the bottom of the strike zone because he's 7 feet tall. I think we've just broken baseball, actually. Aaron Judge, our glorious MVP, is going to be even better next year when he draws 500 walks. But regardless.
Wait, Riley's going to draw 500 walks next year?
Alex, do I need to remind you of your preseason American League MVP pick?
Do I need to remind you of who is going to win the MVP this year and Mac's nickname? on the stream right now?
One moment. Beep 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 beep.
No, you don't get you. You don't
Oh,
get.
come on, man.
Oh,
Okay.
But
hold
in all
on.
sincerity,
I got you. Don't worry, I got you.
Yeah, I like the gamesmanship aspect of this. The when do you call it, right? Is it worth, using it in the third inning, right? On a close call. Obviously, if it's there's some weird pitches all the time, like right down the middle or a foot off the plate. Okay, those. But even then, do you risk those? Do batters trust themselves? And even team to team, who can challenge? I know the Reds in preseason in spring training, Terry Francona said, if you're on the big league club, you are not allowed to challenge because you cannot you can't, like, you're going to be in the big leagues. But if you're in the minors, yeah, go on ahead because you'll be playing with all year. Our team's going to say, hey, Mets, Soto can challenge, Alonso can challenge, Lindor can challenge, Luis Angel Acuna, if you challenge, you're going to AAA. Mark Vientos, if you challenge, you're going to AAA, right? If you're some bozo rookie, you get thrown out, right? Or you get substituted out, right? If you're like the Dodgers, right? Kershaw's not going to be around, but hypothetically, Kershaw's pitching. He can challenge anything he wants, but if it's Roki Sasaki, Dave Roberts is going to throw a fit. I don't know. Maybe that's the dynamic, and that'll be different from team to team. Is it going to be more pitcher oriented or more batter oriented or more catcher oriented? I would guess, my instinct would say that some pitchers are going to get it wrong early on in the season. Teams are going to say, pitcher, you are biased, stop. And you have like parallax error, so stop and let the catcher do it. And maybe this is something we add into WAR or Baseball Savant, and like instead of a blocks above average or a framing runs above average, it's a challenges above average. Even in managers now in Major League Baseball, Foolish Baseball made a fascinating video about the Royals video assistant that is just like nails with the challenges. NFL head coaches have a challenge record. I think you can go on Pro Football Reference, Baseball Reference, and find these for your challenge record. But I think this will be something that maybe the Carlos Santana type players are really good at. The Juan Soto type players are really good at, or maybe some catchers. Maybe this is the reason Cal wins MVP next year. I don't know. Maybe he's terrific at it. Maybe the Austin Hedges of the world, or Jeff Mathis comes back and he's, God's gift.
Jeff Mathis, yes.
Yeah. He can't hit, but oh boy, he'll save you all the strikes. So I'm fascinated to see that statistical change. I'm fascinated to see how it's deployed from team to team. Like, who's allowed to challenge, or is our team's going to have limits? Or is it just going to be, if you think it's wrong, you can challenge, because it is like, obviously the manager can't have a say, but the manager can tell his players before the game, hey, only a couple of you can challenge, or hey, only challenge when it's a high leverage, like a 2-strike or a 3-ball count. Like, don't waste your challenges unless it's the difference between you striking out or you getting on base. So I think I would guess MLB teams are going to skew very conservatively to start. And I wouldn't imagine there's too many challenges until late on in games, other than maybe the occasional egregious challenge early on. Sometimes, like in the NFL, you'll have first half challenges or obvious drops or obvious catches that it's just a fait accompli. Okay, ref, you missed it, but you get a second chance to get it right. I don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of wasted challenges early on, unless pitchers are doing it. And then I think pitchers are going to have the lowest success rate of the three.
Yeah, I think catchers are going to have.
I was going to say catchers, I bet, are going to be great at this.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously.
I mean, we saw, like, going back into spring training, like, again, I'm going to use Cal Raleigh because that's the games I was able to watch the most. Cal, during spring training, was very good at using the ABS system, and in the All-Star game, was able to get Tariq Skubal a strikeout here using the ABS system. So, I think that right now, I'm actually fully on board with you, Splash, on this. I think that what's going to happen, just saw what Splash changed his name to. Beautiful. Regardless, I think it's going to turn into here where teams are going to be like, only certain people can challenge unless it is egregious. And if you challenge something and you're not one of these people, you better be ready for the consequence if you're wrong. here. Like, you better be ready for what's going to happen afterwards. And coaches are going to have to really work with that. Here, you're going to have to really learn what the strike zone is. Oh no, whatever will we do with players learning what the strike zone is? So with all that, I'm so for it, and I 100% agree. Also, that this could definitely be a stat going forward that could account for in things such as war.
Yeah, and also, like you were saying earlier, Alex, I mean, these challenges are going to take like 5 seconds. And
Exactly.
they have to be done instantly. You can't look to the dugout. And, it really does not, like, it's not going to be, when you're reviewing safe or out or something like that, where it's a long, drawn-out review. There's a defined strike zone, and it'll show, did the ball, hit the strike zone or did it not? It's going to be very straightforward. I understand the whole argument about the human element, and there will still be a human element because, you're not going to challenge every pitch of every game. But I think overall this is good for the game. It'll save people a lot of anguish, really. And I think it's going to be a better product going forward. I mean, the number one thing it feels like everyone has complained about, baseball fans are ball strikes from the umpires. So this is a step in the right direction for MLB.
So one thing I want to bring up to you guys here is when the replay reviews here, where the challenges came out for the first time, we talked about moments here where it would have been really nice to have them. The first one that came to my mind, of course, was the unperfect game from Andres Galarraga.
My God, I wish, yeah.
The first thing that comes to my mind, I really hope you guys at least are with me on this at least a little bit here, it was 12 years ago. And this was, I think, just a random game here, but Joe Nathan was pitching for
Oh my God, yes.
and a pitch in the dirt that was called a strike, and everyone's like, what did I just see here? And even Joe was like, how does that work?
That was his 300th career save also.
Was that really?
On that, yes.
Even better. Oh my gosh, that is absolutely legendary. I think that was against Ben Zobrist, if I remember.
It was.
Yes.
Ben Zobrist.
World Series MVP Ben Zobrist.
World Series MVP Ben
Correct.
Zobrist.
So,
Also,
fellas,
Derby X participant.
I did not need to know that information. I did not need to know that Ben Zobrist was in a home run derby.
No, Home Run Derby X, the thing that's like for retired players.
Okay.
That thing, yeah.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense. My bad.
Yeah.
Fellas, I want a prediction.
Yeah.
How soon do we get a challenges above average on a Baseball Savant page?
Next
We
year.
have framing,
I'd
we
say
have throwing,
middle
we
of
have
next
blocking.
season.
I think, honestly, it's probably going to happen during spring training. Like, they're going to have
I could see that.
Working it. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I mean, that is about as much of a niche stat as you can get here that still has meaning to it. So
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have if it works in like I'm thinking it'll work, you'll have guys that are changing walk totals, changing strikeout totals, and maybe that's the key. Maybe it's like walks earned or strikeouts earned for catchers or walks earned for hitters, or an accuracy rate of like how often, obviously how often you get it right, but how high leverage of a spot those are. Because if it's like a 0-0 count, like that's high leverage in its own way, but that is different. Like that is taking a guy off the bases. If it's a 3-2 count and it's a strike, the batter challenges it. You get it wrong, that's a strikeout, right? If you get it right, that's a walk. So that's a like a guy on the base paths. That's a tangible result to the game, not just one pitch. That's a guy on the bases or an out. So I'm curious how Baseball Savant will tackle that.
I am too. So let us know what you guys think here. Do you think that the ABS system is going to be good for baseball? Do you think it needed more tuning here and we shouldn't be seeing it in 2026? Let us know here on YouTube here. Make sure to leave a comment here as well as like and subscribe. But now it's time for everyone's favorite segment here. It is time for trivia, and for the trivia reigns, I hand things over to our own resident Mac.
Yep. So we're gonna run back an old segment that obviously we do occasionally. We're gonna do Diddy Play 4, but it's playoff edition only. We're only asking about the teams that have clinched a playoff spot yet.
Okay.
So we're
All
gonna keep your eyes peeled for that one.
All right. Fun
So
times.
This is some kind of elitist. That's what it is. This is elitist. I do not approve of this elitist behavior.
all right. Anyway, let's. You guys pick a number between 1 and 15. Alex, go.
6 for Dan Wilson.
We're gonna go
All right.
8.
Alex was closer. Sorry, not Alex. Splash was closer. It's 13.
Yeah,
Do you want
Daisy there. Cool.
Do you
Wow,
want
that was a very mean mistake there, my dude.
Are you gonna challenge that?
Yeah. Are you? Yeah. Do you want to receive or defer?
I'd like to receive. Also, the best clip of the season was when all 4 involved players were pointing towards the first baseman.
The quadruple challenge.
Yeah, the first base umpire. It's like the pitcher's appealing, the catcher's appealing, the batter's appealing, the home plate umpire's appealing.
Oh, well, the umpire wasn't appealing on that one. He was requesting.
He was checking. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's everyone pointing towards the first base umpire. Yeah.
All right. I'd like to receive the kickoff, Mac.
All right, Splash. Your first player is Jose Bautista.
Yes, sir.
Did he play for the Phillies?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. 2018.
Correct. The last stop of his career after he played for the Braves and the Mets first that season. All right, to Alex. Your player is the big unit, Randy Johnson. Did he play for the Yankees?
Absolutely, he did. He gave up a great double to Dae-Sung Koo.
Yes, he did. That was Randy Johnson on the Yankees 05 and 06.
Thank you, John Boyce. John Boyce. There we go.
Yes. All right. So you guys are batting 1,000 so far. Let's go to Splash. Your player's R.A. Dickey. Did he play for the Seattle Mariners?
Yes. MLB Power Pros.
Yeah, that's what Power Pros
legends. Come on.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, Dickey. Yeah. Wow. So you guys are off to a good start. All right. Alex, the player, another 2000s pitcher, Roy Oswalt. Did he play for the San Diego Padres?
No.
Correct. He did not. Played for the Rockies. He played for the Phillies. He played for the Astros. He played for the Rangers even. Did not play for the Padres.
Not for the Padres.
Nope. All right. Wow. You guys are doing well so far. Splash, to you, I'm going to go with another late 2000s player. It's Jason Kendall. Did he play for the Chicago Cubs?
Ooh. I'm going to say no. I don't think so.
Oh, that's a strike.
Yes,
he did play for the Cubs.
Splash.
Trade deadline in 2007. Jerry Blevins went to the A's in that deal. So, okay, wow.
Okay.
I guess Alex is technically in the lead.
Tough
your
scenes.
player is Carlos Beltran. Did he play for the LA Dodgers?
Yes, he did.
Oh, no, he did not.
Dang it!
Played for the Giants. He did not play for the Dodgers.
I thought he played.
All right, so you guys
I thought he was
even
part
here.
of like that huge. Remember they had that outfield that was like 7 outfielders that were all like just old legends.
Yeah, he was not part of that.
I thought he was part of that. Okay, fair enough.
All right, next up, Splash. Your player is another pitcher. It's Jared Weaver. Did he play for the Toronto Blue Jays?
He did not.
Correct, he did not. He only played for the Angels and a brief stint with the Padres. All right.
I mean, legends still say this fastball is still trying to acquire some play.
Yeah, you're right. All right, Alex, your player, John Lackey.
Okay.
Former Angel teammate of Jared Weaver.
Yeah.
Did he play for the Milwaukee Brewers?
No.
Correct, he did not. World Series champion with the Red Sox and the Cubs.
Yep.
And Angels,
played
right?
for the Cardinals.
2002?
Oh yeah, wow, 3-time world champion.
Man.
Started Game 7 of the World Series, if I'm not mistaken, in 2002. But yeah, and he started the clincher in 2013. But yeah, you were correct. So back to you, Splash. Your player is Jake Arrieta. Did he play for the San Diego Padres?
He did after he was mega washed.
Yep, he did. He pitched really, really poorly. But yes, he did pitch for the Padres briefly. All right.
We're still
Back to
going
you, Alex.
here. Yeah.
Your player is Greg Maddux.
Okay.
Did he play for the Phillies?
Oh, I thought you were going to say some other team. I'm going to say that he did.
Greg Max did not play for the Phillies.
Dang it! Ah!
He played for the Cubs. He played for the Braves.
Play for the Padres, I
Dodgers.
know.
Played for the Cubs again. Played for the Padres, yes. Played for the Dodgers again. Did not play for the Phillies.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I just know that he went to a bunch of different teams. I'm like, all right, maybe the Phillies were one of them.
All right, so this is
Splash
the
was
last
one lead.
Yeah, last player available for all the marbles here, Splash. Going with another late 2000s type of guy. Jim Edmonds is your player.
Ooh.
Did he play for the Milwaukee Brewers?
I think he did for like half a season. So I'm going to say yes. Jim Edmonds played for the Brewers.
You're correct. Jim Edmonds did play for the Brewers in 2010. 73 games. He was actually decently effective. Hit 8 home runs and 21 doubles in 240 plate appearances.
Yeah,
Nice.
not bad.
Yeah, I know he got hurt late in the year, but yeah, Jim Edmonds was a solid player right up until he retired, and then for some reason he went one and done on the Hall of Fame ballot. But yeah, so I guess Splash is our winner today.
GG's. GG's.
Impressive
GG's.
performance, gentlemen. All right, back to you, Alex.
All right, thank you so much. That was fun. I always love playing. Did he play for? It's always a good one. Good time here.
I like putting it together.
Yeah. So, all right, it's now time for the moment to ourselves, where we take a moment to talk about anything that's on our minds. It does not have to be baseball related, but it absolutely can be. Gentlemen, would either of you like to go first? All right, Splash, you're going first. I'll count you down.
Sure.
Your time begins in 3, 2, 1, begin.
Ravens. Actually, this isn't even about the Ravens. It's about how the media covers the Ravens. Other teams blow games. Other teams lose to good teams. So why, when it's the Ravens, it's the sky is falling, and when it's other teams, it gets ignored after a week, right? The Lions got embarrassed by the Packers week 1. We don't remember that game, right? It's already lost to the sands of history. The Rams blew a 19-point lead in Philadelphia. Is that going to be remembered the same way that the Ravens blowing a 15-point lead to Buffalo is? Probably not. The Packers lost to the Browns. And we still talk about the Ravens losing to the Raiders last year. Like, folks, be consistent. I can understand like having the Ravens as this like S-tier Super Bowl contender with Buffalo, Kansas City, Philadelphia entering the season, one of these top 5 teams. But when you have other teams that, oh yeah, the Packers, they're number 1 in my power rankings this week, and they lose to the Browns, they should be subject to the same criticism that other teams should be subjected to. And it's weird to me that the Ravens end up getting a lion's share of the, like when they blow a lead, it's front page news every single time. The Rams blew a 3-score lead to a team that had -1 passing yards at the half. The Bucks were trailing to the Jets with 30 seconds to go. The Packers blew a 10-point lead to a Browns team that did not have a touchdown drive longer than 4 yards. And they only got the last second field goal after they blocked Green Bay's field goal and had a decent return. So the scoring drives for the Browns on Sunday were a whopping jack squat. All of them. It was a 4-yard touchdown that they scored right after the horrendous pick by Jordan Love. Their scoring drives. They had a nice 12-play, 63-yard drive for their first field goal, then a 1-play, 4-yard drive for their touchdown, and a 5-play, 16-yard drive for the second field goal. This is a team, the Browns, that had 221 yards of total offense. They beat the Packers. So the Packers this week should be getting lambasted. You know what happened when the Ravens played the Browns? They won by 24. It was so bad that Twitter was saying, oh, Lamar's stat padding. Did you watch week 1? Did you watch the Ravens blow a 2-score lead in 4 minutes? It's not stat padding. it's not stat padding when Derrick Henry has 11 carries for 23 yards, including a negative run on that drive and a zero-yard run in that series to make it a 2nd and 10. He throws a jump ball to DeAndre Hopkins. Okay, what do you want him to do? Hand the ball to Mr. Fumble? King of the Fumble? Be serious, folks.
Football's weird, man.
Yeah, I would like to point out Syracuse legend Andre Schmidt came through pretty nicely for Green Bay. Dude struggled big time at Syracuse to hit anything beyond 40 yards. But he was at 55 yards to beat the Packers. That's pretty good.
If only he had made that field goal to beat the Bengals, then the Browns would be 2-1. And
yeah, which is crazy.
We'd live in a very
I will say the
world.
Browns have a great defense.
It's great. Like their
Good
defensive
Lord,
line
their
will give
offense.
anyone troubles.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, Mac, you want to go next? Or you want me to go?
You can go.
All right, sounds good. Someone count me down.
All right, hang on. Let me just get my stopwatch. Your time starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
The Seattle Mariners are playoff bound once again. First time since 2022. But that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the division. If right now the magic number is at 1, that means that either a Mariner win or an Astros loss at any point in the next 5 games means that Seattle will win their first division title since 2001. Folks, friends, everyone, I've not seen a new banner at Safeco Field / T-Mobile Park. Basically ever. The last one that was put there here, last actual banner, I was 7 years old, and we weren't there to see the opening day of it, I don't believe. Maybe they were. Maybe I was. I can't fully remember. But again, I was a young kid. I was a lad. And before that, or after that, I should say, the wild card banner was made so that we could show that we did something in 2022. You have no idea how excited I am that in 2026 here, as long barring the biggest, collapse, knock on wood, any kind of wood I could find, that I will finally get to see a banner come down here right next to the 2001 banner. And finally, for the first time in my adult life, we'll see a new banner hanging at T-Mobile Park. And hopefully it's joined by 2 more American League champions and World Series champions.
Oh.
There we go.
Yeah, I mean, it would be their first title in 24 years. Like that's
the number seems fairly significant.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it.
Yeah, shorter than the Marlins and Rockies. So you have that going for you. It could be worse.
True. Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, Mac, you ready?
Yeah, sure.
All right, your time begins in 3, 2, 1, begin.
Yeah, I was planning on talking about the Mets, but I won't. Just going to say, sucks that Steven Jelly got hurt this weekend, but Syracuse got their first ever win at Death Valley. So to all those who got Clemson at minus 17.5, nice job. You can blame the lightning delay. You could blame everyone leaving. But Syracuse is here, man. And even, Ricky Collins, looking forward to it. Sucks that Angeli's going to be out for the year. But he has 2 more years here. So it's tough because yes, you did lose your starting quarterback, but definitely looking forward to the game against Duke this coming weekend. Again, they're underdogs again, but first of all, I hope Steve heals up well, but I'm excited to see what Ricky Collins can do. And I trust Fran Brown. And also, can we please stop throwing his name around in SEC coaching discussions? He's going nowhere.
Yeah.
I will say I didn't bet the Syracuse Clemson game. I had a positive week of betting finally.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I do. One of my shticks I put in $16 to my account every week and have a $1 long shot parlay for every game. I finally hit one. Shout out to the Bucks Jets. I had the Bucks to win, Egbuka to lead in receiving yards. He led by 1. Tyrod to throw a touchdown. He threw 2 to his own team and 1 to the other team. And Mike Evans under 66.5 yards, something like that. So like plus 1,700. So nice little hit it for once. So
we take those.
Score.
Oh, one thing I do need to add a little bit to mine. Just one thing. Pay Josh Naylor anything he wants.
Big
Keep him in Seattle forever, please, and thank you. With that being said, though,
fair.
Thank you so much to everyone for tuning in to today's episode of Losses Above Replacement. If you enjoyed it, hey, consider giving us a high review here on Spotify or liking and subscribing on YouTube or both. Or why not? Just have fun with it. Here, I believe we're also on Apple Podcasts. Make sure you go follow us on Twitter at LAR_baseball. You can also follow each of us individually at for me, at the Sports Guy 242, you can go follow Mac at Mathias_A_K, and you can go follow Splash at Mrs. Splashman19. But from all of us here at Losses Above Replacement, thank you so much for everyone for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, and I hope to see you all real soon.